Hello harmonica fans, my name is Sankey and it's been a while, but I'm excited to be uploading a video to YouTube. And first just want to say thanks for all the continued hits and comments and enthusiasm for what I'm doing. Really appreciate it, and it sounds like you're sort of enjoying and benefiting the content. Today what I'm going to be doing is providing a walkthrough of the riff, the harmonica and the melody for the title track from my second album, which is called Tell Me There's a Sun. Someone wrote in quite a while ago asking me to do a run through of it, and I'm sort of finally getting round to it. I can't remember who it was, I can't find the email, but thank you very much, and I hope you all sort of find this useful. So what I'll do is I'll play the melody, the riff, which also forms the vocal melody, and the horn lines use this riff as well, and then we'll break it down step by step and then sort of build up the complexity. And this riff is great actually to work on your tongue blocking. Doesn't matter if you can't tongue block, but if you can, this is a great riff for working on it. And also it's a great way of layering expression and other kind of effects, as we'll come on to see. So what does it sound like? It sounds like this. Okay, so something like that. So let's look at the basic notes and the melody. So the notes themselves are we are in the key of E. So tell me that the sun is in the key of E, and we are playing in cross position. So we are using an A harp, and the notes themselves are draw 3, whole step bend, draw 2, blow 2, draw 1, blow 1. So those are the notes. The way to think about this melody is it's kind of two parts. It's got a call and response. Okay, so the first part is essentially draw 3 twice, and the way I'm doing that, I'm doing a wah wah or at the stop. So okay, then we go down onto that draw 3 whole step bend. Okay, that's the note that you're looking for, and that's as always with this note, it's a really good opportunity to put in some expression. That's where the harmonica is so strong, especially when you roll onto the draw 2. So draw 2, then it's blow 2, draw 1, blow 1. But the draw 1 is like a passing note. You just sort of touch it very briefly, and the timing there is critical. So it's okay, so now the response to that is exactly the same up to the blow 2. So okay, so it's a really sort of sweet melody. It's one of my favourite melodies that I've written. Very, very simple. And then you can play it to 4/4 timing. Okay. Now, then we can start taking it different places. So the first thing, as I mentioned at the top, you don't have to tongue block to play this riff, obviously. But if you do, you can bring in these percussive tongue slaps. and also it will help fatten out the sound, particularly on these kind of low blow notes, on that blow 2 and on that blow 1. Okay, so you can hear hopefully the tongue blocking sound. So when I transition from that draw 3 to the draw 2. Now you can replicate that some with your lips, to some extent rather, but tongue blocking, as we've talked about, is fantastic. Now, expression wise, there's lots of other things we can do here. We can start using our hands for warbles as well as volume and other really simple things which are very effective. So this is a riff where you can really try and make the harmonica talk using that sort of hand movement. Okay, so you can play around with that. Now, we can also take this riff and we can move it up an octave, so we can play it in the middle register. And it's exactly the same notes, we're just taking those notes and moving them up an octave, but one of the tricky things about the harmonica is when you move into different octaves, the notes aren't necessarily in the same place. So it's exactly the same notes, but of course the layout means that we've got to do some things differently. So we use the draw 7, which is the same as draw 3. We use draw 6, which is the same as draw 3 whole step bend. We use the blow 6, which is the same as draw 2. We use the blow 5, which is the same as blow 2. This draw 1, it's a draw of 4 rather, which is the same as the draw 1, and then the blow 4, which is the same as the blow 1. Okay, so if we move it up, now when you move up an octave or up the harmonica, especially from draw 4 upwards, the tongue blocking really sort of comes into its own. And as I've encouraged you before, is try it both ways and see what works for you. But here you can get that tongue slapping effect is even more sort of pronounced, and you can, instead of doing the wah wah on that first 2 major notes on the 7, you can slide up to them, which works really well here. And when we hit this draw 6, this is a great way of sort of starting it slightly bent and moving it up, right? So on that draw 6, really try and get a little bit, start it slightly bent and rise it and lift it, so where the harmonica is at its best, okay? And the tongue blocking, as I said, you can do these tongue slaps. Okay. Now, the other thing that this tune is crying out for playing on the harmonica on your own is octaves. I have a video on my channel explaining how to do it. It's this kind of sound. Very cool, and it works very well on this tune. So essentially you are tongue blocking 2 holes of the comb, let's say draw 2 and 3, and sounding hole 1 and hole 4 at the same time by putting your tongue in the middle. Sounds tricky, but it's actually relatively easy once you if you practice it a bit. So here we can start playing, in that upper register, we can play this tune as octaves, except on that draw 6, but it sounds like this. This is a great way of starting to expand and play with the sound as you build up. So you can start sort of, quite mellow. Great way of layering in textures. The other thing you can do, of course, is you can do tongue flutters at the end of the notes, or tongue switches, moving the tongue side by side, so it sounds like this. So you can layer lots of different things onto this, you know, simple melody to 4/4, and eventually you can start putting in these little filler riffs, and you can start improvising it and so on and so forth. So okay, so I hope you found that useful. So that's the title track from my second album called Tell Me There's a Sun, and that's a walkthrough of the melody. Thank you very much.